Donk Nation, Jackson, Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you recap preseason week 2 with Gingy. Not a whole heck of a lot to say, Gingy, but football.
Gingy in the house. Yeah, we got football. We got home Steelers football, but what did we really see, Donkey? I don't know. I don't know what I can decipher from.
Renegade led to a turnover for the fourth stringers. The fourth stringers produced a turnover right after Renegade. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, right? They're fitting in nicely.
Yeah, I guess so, Donkey. Yeah. I mean, Renegade. That brings it full season, right?
Yeah, people only ever get to go to a preseason game. Here, Renegade get to see the Steelers make a big turnover in what at the time was a tied football game. Of course, Tampa Bay wins 17-14. I'm not sure there's a whole heck of a lot to talk about in terms of watching backups play outside of both teams starting offensive lines and some mismatched players here or there on defense. Maybe more importantly is the injury front, and the Steelers do suffer an injury or two this week. But Gingy, more importantly, my wife has a bone to pick with you not being happy, excited, and throwing forth the Gingy black and gold energy. She says you're not in regular season form. Gingy, gotta step it up, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We're about Donkey after really.
Speechless.
Really?
She was really sad to hear it. She's like, I don't know what happened to Gingy. Did he finally get crushed by the weight of all your terrible expectations? Of course, talking to me. And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Not out of the question, Donkey, but listen, I'm ready to see some action, right? One thing that I don't like is really cold players starting week 1. I understand that we got an older roster, especially quarterback, right? But
I hear you on that, but let's be honest here. I would agree with you fully if the Steelers were the only team who did that, but this is just the norm now for the NFL. I mean, Tampa Bay doesn't play Baker Mayfield. I'm not sure I saw any starting quarterbacks play at all this week. A lot of teams last year didn't even. I don't think Patty Mahomes played in a preseason game. It just really feels like the modern way football is hey, preseason's here to evaluate who's going to be the end of the roster guys. Week 1's preseason. I fully am feeling that week 1 and 2 nowadays are just they're given that they're going to be like preseason games and everybody's doing it. If you want to be a team that gets out to a quick start, I guess the way you do it is you do the opposite and you make sure your team's ready come week 1, which maybe your argument is the Steelers need to be that team that's ready week 1, not the what do we want to call it? Not the status quo team that's playing preseason week 1. Is that where we're going with this?
I'm going with, I don't know, over the last few years, I've regularly seen a team that doesn't appear really solid and ready to week 4.
That's fair.
And I think that we could do a little bit better if these folks got a little bit more reps in the preseason. That's what I'm saying.
I hear you on that, but the counter argument here is in terms of starting units getting the most reps, and I'm going to assume we're talking offense here. Specifically offense, the Steelers starting unit the last 2 preseasons, well, actually, the last because Justin Fields messed that up. But the year before Justin Fields with Kenny Pickett as a starting quarterback, and the year before that, Mitch Trubisky, those 2 years, the Steelers starters on offense took the most well, with Kenny Pickett, took like the 8th most snaps in the preseason for a starting unit, and the year before Trubisky was somewhere in the top 10 as well, like top 10 teams in terms of snaps taken. So it's not like when we do put them out there, good things happen. Last year was a little weird because if you consider Justin Fields the starter, he actually did take a little bit of preseason snaps. And I don't disagree with you. I don't know if this is us wanting things the way we knew it in the past and feel like the Steelers' success isn't happening because we're not doing things that we used to do, but other teams are successful with it. So at that point, is it really the Steelers need to play the preseason games like we feel it was because of our, oh, we got to have it the way we like it thing? Or is this more of just a coaching thing, a Mike Tomlin thing, where this team just, they start off so slow, so to say?
I don't know. That's a great question, Donkey. How can you ever tell? I can't tell the difference because you don't have any opportunity to see most of
And
the time.
I hear what you're saying, but when we look at teams like Detroit, who started absolutely on fire last year, really didn't play their offense in the preseason at all. Teams like Tampa Bay, you look, there are those teams that get it going, get it clicking, and hear me out on this, and maybe it's just me being crazy, but these teams, the Rams are another good example of a team that did it without playing their starters at the start. These teams tend to be the ones who have offensive coaches. Is it something more where having a defensive coach, and I don't know, I'd have to do a little more look here. You brought up a point that's actually really interesting. I might look it up. Are these teams with defensive head coaches the ones who start slow, especially on offense at the start of the year? And are the ones who start fast the ones with offensive coaches with or without preseason play being involved? Like, the starter's not playing. I'm very curious about that. I'm curious what to see out there. And let's be honest here, Gingy. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come out and start hot, is there anyone to blame other than Aaron Rodgers? Like, we can blame the Steelers for not playing him, not getting in there. But this is Aaron Rodgers. He's a wily vet. He should be able to suit it up, learn the system, and be good to go as soon as you need him, right?
You would hope so. I would think so.
Now, to get to the action that was on the field, a couple injuries this week that might have issues for the Steelers. Nick Herbig suffers a hamstring injury. Those things can linger. Not good for a guy who's based off his speed out there, an outside linebacker, number one backup. But maybe more importantly is Christian Kuntz, the long snapper, comes off the field and can't play the rest of the game. Don't know the severity right now. Game just ended. But that's not a good looking thing. The Steelers just cut their backup long snapper, which I assume they could bring back. They cut him like 2 weeks ago. If you're curious, former 6th or 5th round pick from last year, not this year's draft, last year's draft, Logan Lee is the guy who stepped in to take the long snaps. But injury bug bit the Steelers a little bit this week, Gingy. Concerns here.
Yeah, I definitely don't like to see that right at the beginning of the year, especially a long snapper. Right, mm-hmm. That's a really high rhythm player in your special teams unit. Makes Boswell who he is. That's a tough hit. It's a tough hit in the preseason, Donkey.
If we get into the game action, Gingy, Mason Rudolph starts the game with an interception. To me, it looked like the ball was tipped or else it slipped out of his hand a little because the ball just flew really funny. Early game interception, not good to see. Comes back a little later, leaves a nice drive. Roman Wilson with a big catch on the drive. A pass interference call to the eventual touchdown catcher in Johnson. And then Johnson catches the touchdown. I mean, seeing your backup quarterback able to move the ball is what you want to do. That's what he did. It wasn't the prettiest. I feel the offensive line took a step back this week compared to last week. It did not feel as good. Caleb Johnson looked better in terms of players who we're going to see. I'll go through the offensive ones we're going to see. Caleb Johnson looked better. Not a whole heck of a lot to talk about. I think Roman Wilson had like 80 yards receiving on 2 catches. So maybe there's something there, Gingy.
Yeah, that's pretty darn close to it.
We could get happy about, right? Roman Wilson, we need someone to step up. Had a good preseason game. Something you want to see. Wide receiver-wise, I thought they did pretty good. I thought Roman Wilson had a good one. Scotty Miller does what Scotty Miller does, Gingy. He was on the field. He got open. He caught the football. That dude has to be a lock for this team at this point. Guys who maybe earned themselves some more snaps in the last preseason game to show themselves off. Of course, Johnson catching that touchdown. And late in the game, Rock Taylor looked really good against fourth stringers. Really want to see something from him going against higher up guys next week because that's when you make the money. You're not going to make money against 4 stringers. Make money showing you can beat backups. That's how you become a number 5 wide receiver. So at least some exciting things in terms of the Steelers being able to have wide receivers show up a little bit this week, Gingy.
Yeah, and we need them. Donkey could really use some additional depth at that position. Need to see some guys making some big plays. Roman Wilson, for sure. 36-yard average. I think that was 2 for 72. Showing ability to have big play capability. We need as many of them guys as possible.
Yep. Quarterback side, both Skylar Thompson and Logan Woodside showed why they're fringe roster guys at best. Neither one looked very good this week. Skyler has a great performance last week, not so good this week. Logan throws one of the worst interceptions, just waited too long, stared down the wide receiver, throws the pick that leads to the eventual game winner for Tampa Bay. Backup kicker Ben Sauls misses a field goal. You hate to see that stuff, and he has no excuse, dude. He kicked his whole career at Pitt, should know how to kick in Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium. On the running back side, got to see some nice stuff. Caleb Johnson has a nice little 12, 13-yard run in there. Got to see a touchdown from Trey Sermon, which if he makes the roster, that's what he's here to be, is that short yardage goal line guy. Big body, dude. I don't know if you've seen him in either of the game, Gingy, but Trey Sermon's a big dude. Absolutely like to see him scoring the touchdown. And then I got to call this name out because last week I told you there was some four-string running back who looked really good. Lou Nichols, again, the rookie out of Central Michigan, undrafted kid. I think it's Central Michigan. One of those MAC schools. Had another showing, Gingy. I really want to see this kid get the first reps in the third preseason game because I want to see if the Steelers found a little something in a guy who 1 year led NCAA football in rushing yards for a season. Did they find a little gem here in a dude who the measurables aren't great, the speed isn't great, but just has that football knowledge? We need to see it against not four stringers. I want to see if he has the speed to make those cuts and still get that decisiveness against NFL backups. Because if he has that ability, then he has the ability to be a fourth running back at worst, right?
Yeah, let's go. That's what you need, that big playability, right? And I love to see us lining up a nice short yardage back. Steelers traditionally, as we all know, over the last few years, having a real tough time picking up the short yardage situations, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Really hope to see him cultivate a guy that can be more consistent on that. That'll be huge for the offense, I think.
And Gingy, now we're going to get to the worst part of the offense because it's a trend. And I understand this is a new year, this is a new look, this isn't really the offense. But it's this trend where the Pittsburgh Steelers cannot convert frickin' third downs, dude. First half, 0 for 5 on third down conversions. The offense just still cannot convert third downs. And 5 years running, this is something to worry about. I don't care what people say. This is a worrying trend until it stops.
Absolutely, Donkey. Couldn't agree more. Really hamstrings your offense. Mm-hmm. There's the difference in games on them close drives, and especially hamstrings you on third down when most teams know that you do have difficulties in those positions, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's flip to the defensive side of the ball here, Gingy. So, again, not a whole heck of a lot of starters played, but Peyton Wilson played, and he got burned on coverage twice. As the guy who's supposed to be the best coverage linebacker on this team, Tampa Bay's running back's more of a runner than a receiver, burned him twice. I'm a little bit worried about Peyton Wilson year 2, that sophomore slump, man, because both preseason games, he hasn't looked the part, is what I'll say. He has not looked the part. That's probably the biggest concern I have because he's the only one who should be a starter to me that looked bad, is the way I'll put it.
I see. Yeah. Well, there's still time to improve that, Donkey. We're still.
I just want to see the kid we saw I want to see the kid we saw the rookie year, kind of like Keanu Benton went out and dominated the second preseason game. I want to see, I don't want to see what happened to Benton, right? Great rookie year, struggled year 2. Looks like maybe year 3 is going to take off. I don't want to see that happen with Peyton Wilson. If we're going to compete, Peyton Wilson, well, maybe not because we have a lot of depth there. But if we want to compete, a huge piece that could really be valuable is a guy with the athleticism of Peyton Wilson in middle linebacker.
Excuse me, Donkey. Yeah, major athleticism. Really versatile. can defend in a lot of different ways, and that's what you need in the modern NFL for a guy at middle linebacker. You need a guy who can keep pace over the middle with a tight end, but at the same time really have the instinct to play up and really fill the gap in that stop a team's rush attack.
Yep. When we talk about guys who are the end of the roster guys, the cornerback competition, last week I was a little upset with the way Beanie Bishop played, gave Brandon Eccles a great game. Dude, it was the opposite this week. Beanie Bishop played a really good game, and Brandon Eccles, man, he struggled this week. It's like, man, you understand why these, and I get it, you can't judge too hard. These guys aren't expected to be coming in top-tier starters. If these dudes were consistently great, they wouldn't be backups. You see why these guys are the backups or the nickel corner at best. It's because they're highly inconsistent, man. They show you the flashes of how great they can be, and then they show you the reminders of why they are not starters. Brandon Eccles, the bad game this week. Beanie Bishop stock up this week. I don't know if there's anything to take from that, Gingy, in the cornerback competition, but I'm happy that both of these guys are not penciled in as starters, is the way I'll say it.
Yeah, Donkey. And if you ask me, at the end of the day, that's what really seals the deal between the starting guys and the guys who, back up, play practice squad or whatever, is that consistency. All these guys in the NFL, if they didn't have the ability to perform at that level, is are you going to be able to do it week in and week out against equally as skilled competition?
Yep, for sure. We're going to have a little defensive line rookie report this week, Gingy. Why Black had his best game in black and gold. Looked like he could be a capable backup. Derek Harmon gets on the field and gets a sack. His first sack as a professional. Now, it doesn't register as a statistic because no one cares about preseason. But the Steelers' two younger defensive linemen looking to be taking the steps you want to see as we get closer to games that matter.
Absolutely. I love to see it, Donkey.
And outside of that, Gingy, I'm not sure I have a single thing to say about how the defense played. They weren't bad. They weren't great. When it got down to needing another concerning trend, but I'm not going to blame fifth stringers for this. 3rd and 9 or something. Tampa Bay has the ball. If they get a first down, they can run out of clock and kick a field goal. Of course, they convert. I mean, dude, just troublesome trends that continue in the preseason. Now, this one I'm going to totally chalk as this one doesn't concern me at all. The third down consistency on offense, mainly because we play behind the chain so much and aren't aggressive on 3rd and longs, that concerns me. The defense giving this one up, which has become kind of a norm for us in games at the end, not concerning at all, but I thought I would put it out there because it did happen. I mean, it's something to talk about during the preseason.
It did happen, Donkey. I don't think I would put too much stock in that. However, that is something that I hope will be continued to address, in the locker room. That's the thing that you hope that a coach would cultivate against, right? Just a cycle of mediocrity. All these games matter for a lot of guys who are trying to make the second, third, fourth practice squad strings here on a 53-man roster, and we're coming down to that point. We're 2 weeks, so not too long away from a cut, aren't we?
All the cuts now happen at the same time, week before the regular season. So after next week should be the cut week.
2 weeks away from a cut, then you got to show it while you got it.
Yep, and the thing is, these guys nowadays who are putting on tape, let's not forget, they're not just putting on tape for the Steelers. They're putting on tape not just for the NFL. They're putting on tape for spring football, too. I mean, there's still opportunities to get yourself the ability to advance and the ability to, turn your career around. If you don't believe that, look at Kevonta Turpin from Dallas, man. Puts on some tape in a preseason, gets to go show what he can do in games in the I think he was a UFL, not a USFL, or he was a USFL or XFL. Before the merger, he was out there, puts on good tape in the spring, makes a team, and actually becomes an NFL contributor. There's now more ways for these fringe guys to develop, to hone their skills, and move themselves up in the world. You really, 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 especially for me, I really want to see the Steeler guys put on good tape out there so they get more opportunity and come back and get a chance to make it, Call it weird, call it whatever. You suit up in the black and gold. I'm going to root for you as long as we're not playing you and you don't play in the AFC North. Okay, I hope for those guys.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't really got much else about that game, Donkey. Like I said, I can't wait to see. There's a lot of hype train around this defensive starting unit, right? I can't wait till we
see some of
that. Yeah, just a little bit of that.
Maybe the more concerning thing, Gingy, is he's a guy I forgot, but he came to my mind now. Juan Thornhill was out of position 2 or 3 different times on first down throws, had a miscommunication with a cornerback. Juan Thornhill, you're brought in to replace Minka. We really need you to catch up. You had such a great first game. You cannot be that vastly inconsistent guy you were in Cleveland, where 1 week you look like a Pro Bowler, next week you look like a guy who should be bagging groceries. That's how it's gone in the preseason. That stuff needs to stop starting week 1.
That's right, Donkey. I did that.
And outside of that, Gingy, any other football things you really want to talk about? I'm not sure if there's anything going on at all. Yeah, I don't got nothing.
Nothing else on my mind, Donkey, other than just happy to see some football.
I will have to say this. I was more than happy to not see Baker Mayfield playing in the football game. Because, not that I have a sour taste in my mouth still about that, but yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I got nothing positive to say about that.
I don't have anything to say at all about that.
Exactly. So I guess it's time for a shout out. Gingy, you got any for this week? It's preseason. I don't
still
remember
not ready for that.
Okay, we're still in preseason mode. Okay. I will give a shout out this week. I'd like to shout out the person I think had the best game out there. And to me, this week, the guy who I think made the biggest jump of anybody on this team was Roman Wilson. He showed the ability to get back and beat Jamal Dean, who at one point was a Pro Bowl corner, is Tampa Bay's best corner. He went out and beat a legit number 1 corner for one of his big catches. That's what I like to see. He showed that little bit of burst to get that little bit of space. So my shout-out's going to be Roman Wilson. Stock up for sure. Like I've always said, I don't doubt that you have the ability because you showed it in the little time I saw you before you got injured. My question is, can you stay healthy? So this is a good step, showing he still has explosiveness after a year lost to injury. Hopefully, only positive things going forward for Roman Wilson. I guess it's now. Donkey. Yes. It's now time to let you know I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey at Twitch, at Twitter, your Daily Dose Donkey at Ginger's, where you get all this awesome content. We'll be coming back. We'll be looking at guys who we think are going to make this roster and maybe guys who will be a surprise cut. And, of course, breaking down the last of the preseason of the football. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a follow. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. Let us know if there's any team that you want us to take a quick look at and be like, what the heck is going on there? Haven't really caught myself up with the football. Barely getting myself to enough to watch the Steelers game. Still kind of in summer mode, baseball mode. Kids are finally starting school. Donkey will have some free time to get some stuff done. Gingy, let them know.
You and Gigi in the house, we hanging out, talking football, having fun. Oh my gosh, we're 2 weeks away from a season opener? Donkey, we got to get locked in. We're in preseason mode. Steelers are in preseason mode. We're about ready to pull out first string content here, though, Donkey. Let's go. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.